Good morning. Happy New Year. It's January. It's the 12th of January, 2022. We're very excited to be here this morning for the Hostos Student Leadership Academy Winter Workshop Series. I'm coming to you live and in person from Hostos Community College and the Student Leadership Academy office today. You can't see that because I have the background on, but it does make my background look weird, like I have something behind me. I'm happy to say that we've had a great set of workshops so far, yesterday and Monday. Some awesome, engaging conversation. I think a lot of inspiration, and I think many people were motivated to make positive change and to move forward and to do things with their lives that maybe they weren't expecting that they would want to do.
You're on mute.
Somebody muted me. So I would like to say that I think that for the next couple of days, we will have similar results from our interactions. This morning we have a first-time speaker with us, Fred Banny. We met through some of our acquaintances, Jessica Jenner and Earl Moody, and Fred came to me by way of them, and we had some conversations in the fall. So I'm very excited to have Fred here today to speak with you guys. And later on today, we have our good friend Yuseli Ortiz, who's an alumni of our program, is coming back to speak about some things as well. But without further ado, I want to turn it over to our good friend Muhammad Aden, an alumni of Hostos, now at Cornell University, who is an engineer himself, who's going to do the introduction for Fred. So take it away, my good friend.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to introduce Fred. Fred is an award-winning engineer, TEDx speaker, co-founder of Fred Cordial Banny Foundation. As a construction engineer, he spent his time helping build and repairing roadways and bridge through the New York City and Long Island. Fred is also president and CEO of Banny Enterprise LCC, a leadership development and mentoring company through the which equip and develop and mentor emerging leaders globally. Fred Fred's effort through his foundation and working alongside other nonprofit organizations to provide resources and help develop young leaders in West Africa have been acknowledged by Maya governor and members of the United States Assembly. When he's not developed leader, help rebuild the roadway, he enjoys spending time with his wife, discovering new eateries along the shores of Long Island, New York. Thank you, Fred. Welcome.
Thank you, Muhammad, for that incredible welcome. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Wow, the room is full. 21 people on the Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. This is awesome. This is awesome. We're going to get started shortly. So just quickly, just want to test the room. How many people, put in the chat, number one, if you've been, or if you have attended all the sessions so far. And if you've attended some, more than one, put number two in the chat. Okay, I see Jason one. I see you, Jason. Okay. There you go. Two. That's good. That's good. This is awesome. This is awesome. Okay. Fantastic. Let me share my screen shortly. Can you give me the ability to share my screen, please? That's good. The reason why I asked that as I'm waiting to oh, there you go. Excellent. Can you guys see my screen? Wonderful. So the reason why I asked that, one of the keys to success today, the workshop I'm going to be speaking with you guys is called Engineering Your Leadership. And you just don't want to engineer your leadership just for leadership's sake. At the end of the day, we want to engineer our leadership for success and impact in life. But one of the major keys to success in anything you do in life is showing up. And the fact that I saw so many ones and twos in the chat that people have shown up to at least more than one workshop, that tells me I'm in the right place. And I'm with some people who are serious about their lives and who are serious about making an impact. So here's the deal. One of the major keys to success I've discovered, or you could say The Secret, some of you have seen the movie or even read the book, The Secret, right? Is there are keys, there are secrets to life that give us advantages, right? Leverage. Oftentimes it's hidden in plain sight. If it's not pointed out to you by somebody, or if you don't go out to get the information, you could be looking at it dead in the face and you won't be able to recognize it simply because you haven't been able to tap into that dimension. You haven't been able to become made aware of it. And for those who are aware of those secret keys in life, they move through life with much intentionality because they have speed, because they have clarity, and they're able to get to what it is that they want to go, and they're able to achieve what they want to achieve in a much faster way. I know oftentimes when I do this type of workshop, you have some people in the room who may be like, oh, that's a woo-woo stuff. I don't necessarily believe that. So by show of hands, put one in the chat if you've seen the movie Black Panther. Put number 1 in the chat if you've seen the movie Black Panther. And if you haven't seen the movie Black Panther, put 2 in the chat. I'm trying to bring the chat. Oh, there you go. Okay, 2. I see a lot of ones. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. The reason why I asked that, there's the scene in the movie Black Panther when the Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, right? When he's returning to Wakanda. And as this little clip plays, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. On the outside, to people who aren't aware about Wakanda, it seems like they're just going over farmlands, just nothing. But there's a secret portal that once they went through it, they enter an imaginary city, incredible city. Let me play it for you so you can see it for yourself.
Never gets old.
How many saw when the space shuttle, what looks like a space shuttle, went into the incredible city, the portal that it went through? Put 1 in the chat if you saw that. When it went over the grassland, and before you know it went into this amazing developed city. Wonderful, wonderful. There you go. I see the ones. So you see, some people might be saying, okay, Fred, you know what? That's Hollywood. It's movies, right? They can make anything happen. So I'll prove it to you. It's just not Hollywood. This is life. How many know the company FedEx, and how many have seen this logo? Put 1 in the chat if you've seen this logo. ever before. Pull two if you haven't. I see one, I see one, I see a lot of ones. There you go, people showing a lot of ones. Okay, so I have a question for you all. How many have ever noticed there's an arrow in this logo? Put number 2 if you've noticed the arrow, and number 5 if you haven't. Number 2 if you've seen the arrow, number 5 if you haven't. I see a couple of number 2s. I see a lot of number 5s, a lot of number 5s, a lot of number 5s. There you go, a lot of number 5s. So 2s, 5, 2s, 5. Wonderful. So what does that tell us? For those who haven't noticed the arrow before, do you see it now? Put number 1 if you see it. Put number 1 if you see the arrow. It's right here. If you can see my mouse, it's right here. Wow, there you go. I saw somebody say, wow, wow, yes. That's how success is. That's how life is. There are things that we don't know, that other people know. And we both have access, or sometimes we're both looking at the same thing. But because we haven't been made aware of it, we cannot see it, even though it's hidden in plain sight. And that's some of the secrets I've learned in my life that has blessed me and my wife, and we've lived and we've done some pretty cool things. That's what I want to share with you all. So before we get into it, you guys are already ahead of the curve. Number 1, because you already showed up. You're here, you engaged. Number 2, what I'm going to ask you is, this is going to be a working session. So make sure you have a pen and a paper close by, because we're going to be writing down some things. We're going to be engineering our leadership for success in life, lasting success, right? So because of these secrets I've learned, which I've paid thousands of dollars to get around people who have discovered this, and they've been able to teach me. And the incredible thing is, when you get around these people, because you're in the environment, you start to soak up things. You start, this is what happens. You just don't start learning the information, but you start learning how to think. Not just what to think, but how to think. And yourself, you now start developing new ideas and concepts for yourself, because you start making connections, because you're in an environment that breeds growth, that breeds productivity. That's what environment is so key. So because of you know, these secrets I've been able to learn, my wife and I have been able to travel the world. You know, I studied engineering, and you guys are going to learn about a little bit more about that in a minute. And one of the things that was so special to me, you know, while I was in school, during my architecture class, I would see, you know, incredible architecture buildings in Europe and in Paris, you know, that I wanted to go visit. I studied these things in school, and I was blessed and fortunate enough to actually have the opportunity to actually visit some of those sites, like the church up in Notre Dame, you know, up in the left corner here, you see we at the Eiffel Tower. We're in London, we're in Dubai. I've been a 2-time TEDx speaker. I've organized TEDx conferences, been to Ghana. You know, one of the incredible things about Ghana, we went to the Minan Castle, which is where the slaves, when they left Africa, that was one of the ports where they left. And it was such a spiritual experience, because you standing in the castle looking over the water, like some of you probably have heard the door of no return. Like, I walked through that, and you know, I've been able to speak globally, travel the world. I've been featured in Newsday. You know, my wife and I, you know, Mohammed talked about our foundation. We've been able to travel to Liberia and Africa to be able to give backpacks to students. Why I share these things with you? Not to boast, not to brag, but to tell you that the information that I'm sharing with you, that I've learned, is impacting my life tremendously. And I believe it's going to impact your life as well. So, but it didn't always start that way, right? I was born in Monrovia, Liberia. For those who may not know, that's in West Africa. You see this little spot right here on the west coast of Africa? That's where Liberia is located. That's where I was born. This is young Fred in Liberia. You know, you saw all the other incredible pictures that I had. Unfortunately, I only have about 3 or 4 pictures from my childhood, right? Because you see over here, what I'm in the graduation gown, This is about me, probably like around 5 or 6. I believe I was graduating kindergarten. What makes this picture very special is this young man right here, this child right here at the time had no idea that within a matter of 6 months, his entire life was going to change. You see, I was born in Liberia, like I said. When I was 5 years old, a civil war started in the country. And that civil war was 2 civil wars, lasted over the course of 13 years. I lived in Liberia 11 of those 13 years. 11 of those 13 years. It started when I was 5 as a child. I've seen some crazy things, like stuff you see on the movie screen in war movies. I've lived in that environment. It was commonplace to see people get shot down in the streets. And at night, I remember one night, because I was very curious as a child. We live in a high-rise building, so during the night, when the fighting got so intense, we will have to leave. Everybody in the apartment building will have to leave the apartment and come to sleep in the stairways, because they tell you that's the safest place, because rockets are flying through the air. If it hits the building, it's going to be bad. One night I stayed back while everybody was leaving, and I crawled next to the window and I peeked through the curtains. And as soon as I looked, literally, the moment I looked out the window, I saw a rocket propelled grenade flying through the air. It's like it had like the fire in the back of it, and I watched it with my young innocent eyes. I watched it take flight all through the cloud, the sky, and saw it go down and just exploded. And I said to myself, wow, some people just lost their lives. And I got started. I ran out the window and I went to find my mom. Another time, we had moved. We're seeing this in our house, and the rebels, they were patrolling the neighborhood, just going around knocking on people's doors. And this guy came to our house, just like you see these young men here, and a bunch of child soldiers, just like you see this young man with the magazine all strapped around them. This dude stood about 20 feet away from our front door, just ready to shoot everything in sight. My auntie looked out the window, she saw him. Immediately, she ran out the door, put her hands in the air. Please stop, stop, stop. There's innocent people living here. In a matter of 30 seconds, had she been 30 seconds late, he would have shot our entire house down and killed everybody. So I don't believe in coincidence. I believe that it was divinely appointed that I be here today. That's why God spared my life and my family lives. And if that is true, that means it's also true for you. It's also true that this day was appointed this time, 10 o'clock on Wednesday, January 12, 2022, at Hostos Winter Workshop Series, hosted by the incredible Jason Litfield. It was appointed that we'll be here, that we have this encounter. So I just ask that you give your attention, because I've been through some things, and I know you've been through some things. We all have a story. But what I've learned, I just want to share with you, and hopefully it can impact your life for good. So because of this, lasted for 13 years. I lived there 11 years. When I was 15, I had an opportunity to come to the United States, me and my older sister. We came to the States to be with my father. And some people might be thinking, oh, wow, you came to the United States. Your father was here and you were in a war zone. Why didn't he do anything? He tried. But when you're in the war zone, there's nothing you can do. The airfields are shut down. I'm Liberian. Charles, I see you. The airfields are shut down. The airports are shut down. You can't do nothing. You can't get out of the country. And even at one point, we was able to leave the country and go to the neighboring country, Ivory Coast, where I lived there for years. And when I actually came to the United States, I used to speak French fluently, because in Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire, as they would say in French, they speak French. And I used to speak French fluently, but when I came in high school, none of my friends spoke French, and everybody spoke Spanish that was around me. So I stopped taking French, stopped speaking French, like to say, if you don't use it, you lose it. And I started taking Spanish. But I came, and I was very conscious of my accent. And because of that, I was very brilliant in school, and I was very good at sports. I played soccer all through college, all through high school, all through my life. I was very good in school. I was very brilliant. I did my work. But when I went to class, kids would make fun of my accent. I spoke proper English. I still have an accent. At the time, it was just heavy. I spoke proper English, but I had an accent. The way I enunciated, the way I put emphasis on certain words was different. You know, some of you here may be foreigners. You may be immigrant. You may come from another country. English is my first language. You know, you may come from another country. You may speak with an accent, but you know what? That's one of your superpowers. So I say to you, there you go. Everyone has an accent. Estelle, I'm about to say something about that. You on point. You on point, Estelle. I discovered that. I'm about to share that in a second. So everyone has an accent. Estelle is absolutely right. But that's part of your superpower. That's part of what makes you unique. And so one day, to Estelle's point, I'm thinking to myself, kids making fun of me in class, right? But this did not happen until I graduated high school. But since Estelle just brought it up, I just want to address that. And I thought to myself, one day after high school, I'm in college, and I'm listening to these incredible speakers. I'm studying leadership because I always love leadership. And there were some people, incredible ideas and concepts they were sharing, but they had accents. But I could hear them completely, and I could understand them. And I said to myself, hold on. I know I could understand exactly what this man is saying. I could understand exactly what this woman is saying. And them having an accent doesn't take away from the quality of the message that they're sharing. And it dawned on me, everybody has an accent. It's only a matter of where you are. Where you are, what the dominant people is, the minority becomes the person with an accent. So for example, Shamin is from Guyana. If you're in Guyana, an American becomes the person with an accent because the American is the minority there. Everybody else speak Guyanese, or they speak the vernacular. So now that's the majority. So that was freeing for me. And I started to realize, you know what? I don't have to mum my voice. I need to speak. I need to speak up. I have a voice, I have a story. I have concepts and ideas that I can share. But moving back a little bit, in high school, very conscious, people making fun of me. So what that did to me is I would go to class, like I said, I would do all my work, excellent A student, but I never fully engaged. I never fully participated. I never fully allowed myself to be seen. And because I didn't, you know, I'll be walking throughout the hallway sometimes and people would make fun of me and they would do these things and you know, say things, you know, make fun of how I may say certain words. But this one day, I believe it was in my sophomore year, junior sophomore year. It was in our English class. It was towards the end of the year. And the teacher gave us an assignment. She said, I want you guys to go home and I want you all to write about your life story. I want you to write a story about what you've been through, just your life experience. So I said to myself, oh man, no, I don't want to do this. This is not cool. Because you know, when you've gone through something traumatic, it's not good to replay it, especially if you haven't healed, right? So I said, okay, I have to pass this class. So you know what? I'm gonna engage. So I went home. It was a beautiful evening, beautiful afternoon. So I sat in my backyard. And I started to remember as a young boy, as a young child, I started to remember seeing war tanks driving through the neighborhood. I started to remember at night when I look in the sky, seeing the rocket propelled grenade fly through the sky. I started to remember the sounds of gunshots and bullets, you know, the sounds of guns popping up in the sky, lighting up the sky like it was the 4th of July. Making noise that sounded like you were listening to a Broadway symphony. I started to remember. And as I remember those things, I wrote. I began to write. I became emotional because I'm connecting with it. I'm like, remembering, I'm literally transported into this place. I'm like, wow, this is where I came from. And I'm here today. There are friends that I knew, people that I know that didn't survive. And sometimes you start to feel this survivor remorse. But I became this overwhelming feeling of gratitude just came upon me, like, God, thank you so much. And I started to write. I remember waking up to the sounds of gunshots, like instead of listening, waking up to chickens and rooster crows, we woke up to the sounds of bullets, the different sounds of bullets, like if Broadway Symphony. I wrote. And then the next day I went to school. I said, you know what? I did my assignment. This is awesome. I'm gonna go to class. I'm gonna hand in my paper. I'm gonna sit down. I'm not gonna say anything. So we walked to the class. Now, typically in the classroom, as you know, all the chairs are set up in rows, right? But this time it was different. It was set up in a circle. So when I walk in the class, I'm like, uh-oh, something different here today. I don't like this. Something different. So I said, you know what? Okay, cool though. But you know what? I did my assignment. I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna be okay because I did my work. I handed in my work, I sat down. The teacher comes in class. The teacher came in after everybody. We all sat, and the teacher said, class, guess what? Today, all of you are gonna be the teacher today. I'm gonna learn from you all. It was the next day. She said, I read your stories, incredible, just amazing. And I want you all to share with your class. I want you all to share so your classmates, your peers can get to know you a little better. Immediately, I got nervous. My palm got sweaty. I started shivering in my seat, like physically. I slid down in my seat. I tried to make myself small. I'm like, my leg is shaking. Have you ever seen a duck? You know how when a duck is in the water, it's on the surface, it seems cool, but underneath it's battling for its life. That's how I felt. My inside was just churning. It was churning. I was just like, oh man, please don't come to me. So I'm listening. People raising their hand, people volunteering. And when people stop volunteering, she will call on people. And one by one, it's like a movie. I see people raising their hand and it's coming to me one by one, one by one. I'm like, oh no, Jose, not today. No way, no way, no way, please, please. And right before it could reach to me, ding, 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 ding. The period bell rang. I said, saved by the bell. I raised my hand. Oh, thank you, Jesus. I didn't have to go. So now this is anxiety-ridden environment, right? So I'm like, wow, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here because I'm feeling nervous. I need to go into the hallway, pace a little bit so I could get some air. And what happened? As soon as I pick up my backpack, I put my book in it. Just as I'm about to step outside, my teacher called me. She said, Fred. I stopped. I'm like, oh no, why is she calling me? I already did my assignment. The class is over. Why is she calling me? So I turned around. She said, Fred, are you okay? I said, yeah, miss, I'm okay. Like, what do you mean? She said, you seem a little different today. You seem a little nervous. You didn't seem yourself. And it was a moment. It was a moment. Because at that moment, I had a decision to make. I could have lied and stay hiding and say, you know what? Everything is cool. But I said to myself, you know what? Maybe I should share the truth of how I'm truly feeling. Maybe she may say something that can give me the perspective and help me to experience a level of freedom where I can fully be myself. Because up to that point, the only time that I was fully myself and people thought it was too kind of Fred when I was on the soccer field or when I was playing basketball, whole different type of person. Because that was like my haven. That was my domain. That's where I was really good and I moved incredibly and I did excellent. But so my personality was different than when I was, in school. So I said, you know what, miss, I didn't want to say anything today. I was nervous because I was self-conscious about my accent. Kids, they make fun of me and say, I'm like, I know I speak proper English. I know I'm understandable, but I just didn't want to go through it today, not today. And she's like, she put her hand on my shoulder. She looked me in the eye. She's like, Fred, you're an incredible young man. She said, you do have an accent. She said, but you're very understandable. She said, never allow anybody to make you feel you cannot express yourself or share your story or share your thoughts and ideas. At that moment, as she was looking in my eyes, I knew that this was a teacher who really cared. This was a teacher. She wasn't just trying to motivate me to do my work, because I did my work already. I was passing my class, but she was actually imparting into me the confidence to be who and all that I can be and that I could become. She gave me that permission to embrace my superpowers, the things that were different and unique about me that I thought was a disadvantage. She gave me that. And the same thing I say to you all today as we move forward. I want to give you that permission to embrace that unique thing about yourself. You know, for some, like I said earlier, we already established, I mean, I see in the chat, some people have accent. Some people, it might be the way that you dress. It might be your personality. I don't know. We all have something that we think within our head makes us uncool, and people laugh at us about it. But that is your superpower. And when you discover that, when you lean into that, when you embrace it, and you don't recoil from it, when you show up in the world as your full self, life opens up for you. One of my mantras in life that I've learned is life opens up when we open up to life. So, like I said, so from that encounter, it changed how I went through school. So one of the things, because of everything that I went through, I wanted to study engineering. I wanted to study engineering because I said to myself, growing up, I saw the bridges get demolished. I saw the buildings get crumbled. So I said, when I became of age to go to college, I wanted to go into a career field to learn the skill sets to be able to rebuild. So one day I can go back to Liberia, hopefully, or wherever I find myself in the world, to contribute to society, to be able to rebuild a society. And that's what I did. I went to school for construction engineering and really specialized in the construction side of things because I like to see things built, right? But as I was studying, and because it's the whole field. So design, I did a little bit of design, but like I said, my expertise is really in building, in the construction side. But I started to learn, and I told you guys about these secrets, these concepts and principles that are hidden in plain sight that sometimes we don't know about or we don't see unless it's pointed out to us. And I realized, like, okay, when an engineer is asked to, there's three phases of construction: is plan, design, and build. There's a lot of subsets to that. And let me just say this. Don't worry, what I'm about to share, you don't have to be an engineer to understand it. Trust me, as we go through, it's all gonna make sense. It's gonna bless your life. There's three phases. There are all subsets to it, but the three main phases, the overarching phases, are plan, design, and build. So when an engineer is asked to build something, or to design something that needs to be built, they first just don't get into it. Because if you do, you may cost yourself a lot of money and you may design something that's unnecessary. What do I mean by that? For example, if I tell you, I say, Jason, I need you to design a bridge to go over a body of water. And if you just go without asking any further questions, clarifying questions, and you just start to design something, you may design a bridge for a train. Because all I said was to get over a body of water. But then if the bridge, the purpose of the bridge was for pedestrians, now you over design it. So now we just wasted a lot of money, even though pedestrian can still go over it, but we just wasted a lot of money and a lot of time. So oftentimes, that's where planning comes into place. And how do we plan? We try to get an understanding of the need, the understanding of the desire. Why do we want this thing? Or what's the purpose of it? What is it going to serve? Who's going to be using it? That's all part of planning. So what you do, you plan your design, and you plan your design by asking all these questions. And similarly, what I discovered in life, that, you know what, when I started taking these principles, because I love leadership, and now I just wasn't looking at engineering just from an engineering perspective, because one of the things I realized about myself, my desire to build bridges, it evolved as I was in school and I was studying. And I did a lot of mentoring, I did a lot of speaking, and I realized I had this passion to inspire people, to speak to people, and I loved it. And I realized, like, oh, okay, this desire that God placed in me to help rebuild communities is just not for infrastructure, meaning building roadways and bridges, but it's to build people, because people are what really builds community. What I witnessed in Liberia, even though the buildings and the bridges and the roads got damaged, what really got damaged were families. What really got damaged were fathers and mothers in the family unit. And when I came to that realization, I developed this incredible passion for men because I'm a man. I can relate to men. So I do a lot of mentoring. I started this organization called Conversation with Kings, which is for personal growth and leadership development of men. And through that, I host workshops for men my age, older, and also do a lot of mentoring for younger men. So through those lens, I started looking at engineering principles differently. Like I said, I realized, okay, we plan our design, you design your plan, and then you build your design. You plan your design, you design your plan, and then you build your design. So I said, okay, cool. It starts with vision. Everything starts with vision. So vision simply is, what do I want? What do I see in the future? What is the desire? What do I see in my mind's eye that I would like to see happen in my reality? And then it goes to the purpose of it. Because sometimes we just can want something for wanting its sake. Like I told you, I went into engineering because the why, the purpose is why. Why did I go into engineering? Because I had a bigger purpose. It was just not to make money. It's because I wanted to learn how to rebuild, so that one day I could go back to Liberia and help rebuild the country, or like I do now, I live in the United States, or wherever I find myself, I wanted to be a contributing member to society. That was the purpose. And then you come with an action plan. What do I need to get this done? What do I need to make this vision become a reality? And for me, I went to college, I studied, I did everything that I needed to do to make that happen. So so this is one of the project that I worked on. I picked this specifically because Hostos is in the Bronx, and some of you may recognize this bridge if you've ever been around East 168th Street. This is the Step Street. And for those who, there you go, Yanara. For those who, I'm gonna mention a movie that's really old school. It's called, oh man, what's the movie with Chris Rock and Chris Tucker? Actually, Ice-T and Chris Tucker. There's a movie that he ran behind him on the Step Street. The movie is gonna come to me in a second. But so I picked this because I thought this project that we did was incredible, depicted a perfect example of what I want to share with you. So you see over here on the left-hand side where it says current reality, that was what the Step Street looked like. As you can see, it looks very decrepit. It was all falling apart. At the top of this Step Street in New Jack City, that's right, Chancellor, New Jack City, thank you. Yes, at the top of this Step Street, Yanara could tell you, there's a school up there. There's a school up there. And oftentimes, because in the Bronx is very hilly, as you all know. And so some of the parents would have the kids just run up the stairs, and once they get to the top, the little gazebo up there, they will wave down, and the crossing guard will help them go over. But it became very bad for the kids to go up the Step Street because it was all falling apart. So the city said we had to repair it. So now, again, repair the Step Street. So now we had to come up with a plan. And on the right side, the dream reality is what it was going to look like when it was finished. Right, what's it going to look like when it's finished. So we did the plans on 2-dimensional, but then this is a 3D rendering. So you have your current reality, like our lives. This is where we are right now. This is where we are right now. We all have a current reality, and your current reality might be filled with challenges, or it might just be you wanting to go to a higher level in life, a better place in life. And you have your dream reality. That's your vision, but there's a transformation gap. See the transformation gap? That's what you have to go through in order to embrace your dream reality. And you realize everything is built twice. And the approach of engineers, and I've adapted this approach in my life, in leadership, in success, everything is built twice. It's all started within the mind first. You have to project yourself in the future. Literally, we had to go in the future and design what we wanted the new Step Street to look like. And then we have to come back into reality. now and say, okay, that's the end goal. We already see it. It's already built. In the vision, it's already built. Now, what do we need to do to make sure what we saw become reality? So you just don't build. You build what you saw. In your mind's eyes, that's what vision is so important. That's one of the greatest gifts God has given us as human beings. We have vision. So everything is built twice. And then, so for a second, I want us to now take a look at this, right? So we're projecting into the future. We're future casting. Remember, I said everything is built twice. So it's the end of the year, and this was your best year ever. What happened? So I want you to take a minute, and we're gonna go into breakout groups. But for right now, before we go into the breakout groups, I want you to take a minute. I want you to write down what happened to make this year your best year. So we are at the end of 2022. You're on a Zoom session because hopefully it's not COVID. So you at a coffee shop, your Starbucks or something. You met with your friends. You guys are talking, and you like excited, it's like you really hyped, yo, this year was incredible. It was my best year ever, and you explaining to your friend everything that happened to make it your best year. What happened? What are your goals? I want you to list some of your goals. But before we start, before you do that, the first thing I want us to do, we have to ground ourselves. Because oftentimes as people, we forget everything that is good in our lives currently. We focus on what it is that we want, what it is that we want to do. Yes, that's good. But the number one thing that opens up you and opens up life for you to embrace everything that you want is gratitude. You have to be grateful for what you have right now. You may not be in the best situation. You may not be in the best condition. But even if all you can be grateful for is grateful for life, the fact that you're alive today, it means that you have a chance to make your tomorrow better than it was yesterday. So that in and of itself is something to be grateful for, because I often share with people, and I want you guys to respond in the chat quickly. If I was to give you $10 million and tell you $10 million, all your monetary problems go away. But the condition is you cannot wake up tomorrow. $10 million today, you cannot wake up tomorrow. How many would take that? Or if I sell you, keep all your problems, but you get to wake up tomorrow. Who would take the $10 million and who would say, oh no, I want to wake up tomorrow, so keep your 10 million. If you're going to take the 10 million, put 1 in the chat. If you're going to choose life and to wake up, put 2 in the chat. 2 in the chat, 2 in the chat. There you go, 2 in the chat, 2 in the chat. What does that say to us? The mere fact that we are alive is a gift. You can make that too. That's right. The mere fact that we are alive is a gift. So even though we may have some challenges in our lives, we need to be appreciative of where we are. So before we even talk about our goals and the things that made our year the best year, I want you to write down 2 things you're grateful for and 2 people you're grateful for. 2 things you're grateful for and 2 people you're grateful for. Ground you, especially over the course of this last year. What are 2 things you're grateful for? And you can share in the chat if you so choose to, and if you desire to, you can share in the chat. We're gonna go in the breakout room for a second. 2 things you're grateful for and 2 things you are, and 2 people you're grateful for. Those people who encourage you, those people who you know, they're in your corner. Life, my family, son, mom. Okay. Wonderful. I'm grateful for my support group and family. Wonderful. Wonderful. So here's the question for you guys. Leadership Grow, Muhammad. There you go. 2 things I'm grateful for. 2 things. Yes. Daughter, husband. All right. And we about to get into this best year. But let me ask you this. Those 2 people, especially the people, not necessarily the things, but the people you're grateful for, how many of them know that? When's the last time you expressed that to them and said, listen, I'm grateful for you. Like life may not be perfect, but you know what? I appreciate you. I appreciate the little things that you do. So you sharing with us right now that you're grateful for them always, every day. Wonderful, Rhea. Wonderful, always, every day. That's important. So what I want you to do, and this is something we can do later, For those people that you wrote down, I want you at this end of this session today, don't let today end without you telling them that you're grateful for them and why you're grateful for them. Because we all need to feel like we're valued. We all need to know that we're valued because we are valuable. And sometimes we go through life, we may value people, but we don't express it. But when people do something bad or negative, we tell them all about themselves. But when they do good stuff, we don't often share that as much, right? So I want you to make sure that you share those with the two people. Okay, so we are now grounded. So this is your best year ever. So I want you to write your top 5 goals. You get to decide your year. You get to design what made this year your best year ever, right? So I just wrote some stuff here just to kind of jog your memory, but you get to design what it was for you. So let me know. We're gonna take about 5 minutes to write this down, and then we're gonna go and break our group. So right now, we're gonna write it down on the screen in this larger group now, and then we're gonna go after that and break up and share what we wrote with other people. So we're gonna take about 5 minutes to write those things down. What made this year your best year? Remember, we're in the future. So you see how I wrote this? It's all in past tense. I was able to, I grew, I became, I learned. It's already happened. It happened already. It's your best year. You're in the future. Now you're talking about it as though it's in the past, all right? So just share this thing. You say, I was happy to get in shape. I grew and deepened my relationship with God. I became a more confident and competent leader. I learned how to manage my emotions. I figured out my top college I want to after I graduate. I grew closer in my relationship with family and friends. I applied and got my dream job and making more money. I started my first business. I ran my first 5K. Whatever it is for you, you get to design your life. So let's take some moment and all right there. Trust me, engage with this activity. It's gonna bless you. Thank you, Andre. I see you know. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Okay, guys, we're gonna go into a breakout room. Open all rooms. And I just need you, as you go, just share what you wrote down with your group mates, and we'll take about 5 minutes.
I'm sorry. Did I miss something? Hi, Fred.
Hi.
How are you? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude. Good morning, everyone. Did I miss something? Or did you assign groups already? Cause like I can't like concentrate when people are talking. So I took the thing out of my earpiece out for a second so I could write my
Yeah,
five
I did
things.
the room. The breakout room is in session. Yeah, people are assigned to rooms already. Everybody's assigned. You just have to click.
Did you mention me?
I did it automatically. So what is your name? I'm trying to.
The Santos. I'm the Santos. Rena the Santos.
Let me see if I can find you. I think you have to hit accept to join it, Rena.
Okay, I see it. Thank you.
Excellent. You're welcome. I see everybody's coming back. Everybody's coming back to the main room. Wonderful. Let me share my screen again. Okay. So how was that? How was that, ladies and gentlemen? How was that? How was that experience? Just put in the chat. Let me know. It was good? What were some of the things that you shared? Just one or two things that you already accomplished that you were proud of that made 2022 your best year. Again, this already happened, right? So just your one or two things that you accomplished and you're very proud of yourself. Okay, let me go down. Wonderful. So, okay. So now that was the plan stage, right? Let me get this chat out of the way. So we plan our design, we design our plan, and we build our plan. So that was the plan, is trusting my intuition. Wonderful. Wonderful, Rhea. So now the second stage is the design stage. And so in engineering, when you were designing, you have, like, engineers often design, especially when you're doing a bridge or even a building, right? The three loads that you got to consider. It's called live load, a dead load, and an environmental load. And obviously, like everything else, you have your foundation. So what's a live load? A live load is something live. So this is Brooklyn Bridge. The live load is the people, it's the pedestrians, it's the cars, it's everything that's not physically and permanently attached to the bridge. It's everything that's temporary, that goes and moves. And at the end of the day, all these people are going to go home. They're going to go to sleep. The bridge is just going to be there by itself. So that's what is live, because it's alive. It's a live load, right? And then the dead load is everything that's affixed to the building or the bridge. It's everything that's permanent about the bridge. It's the bridge essence. It's the bridge integrity. It's the bridge self. It's the bridge identity. Everything that's made, that the bridge is made out of, that's permanent to it. So like the columns, the cables, like the buildings, the ornaments, the dome, all of that that's permanent to the bridge, that's what's called a dead load. So now the third load that engineers design for, because the reason why these are all loads that's going to affect the actual structure. So now the building weight itself going to affect it, right? And we're going to talk about foundation in a second. The people walking in the building, or cars driving in the building, that's extra load is going to affect it. So if it's not designed properly, all of that can make it collapse and come down. So then you have environmental load. Like the name says, environmental load is the environment, it's Mother Nature, it's like strong winds, it's snow, it's earthquakes, those things that you know, if you live in Florida or California, you know, the engineers over there, they have to consider earthquakes. In New York, not so much. So when you're designing, you have to understand your location. You have to understand, you have to know and understand the locale, the place that you're building, and all the factors that affect things within that environment. So the load factor that you're going to consider for earthquake in California might be different from New York, because New York really doesn't have earthquake like that, right? So you have these three loads: environmental load. So now the loads are acting upon the structure to test the integrity of the structure. Loads act upon the structure to test its integrity. So right now you have your hand raised. You have something to say?
I just had a thought, and
Yes.
but would you not say, I know nothing about architecture, building anything. I'm a girl, but I think when you said that, I thought of foundation. Like unless you have a strong foundation
I got you.
in life,
I
like,
got you.
so is that where we're going with that? I wasn't sure.
You're right. You're right on track. And I have co-workers who are girls. So just because you're a woman doesn't mean you can't be an engineer. So let's dispel that. I know some incredible engineers who are women. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Just give me a second. You're going to see exactly what you said. And yes, you are right on track. So the laws act upon the structure, right, to test the integrity of the structure. So similarly in our lives, how does that relate? Now, like I tell you, I'm sharing engineering principles and I'm paralleling it with life principles and leadership principles, and how these things, while studying and learning engineering, these things and the processes and the principle that we use to build roads and bridges, I extracted that and I said, okay, how can I apply this to life, right? So you see these loads now similar in our lives. Lows, what are lows? If we're going to compare it to what we go through, simply lows are challenges, obstacles, and circumstances that we go through. It acts upon us. So a dead load may be our own personal and mental challenges, right? Because remember, a dead load is anything that's permanent to the structure. Your personal challenge, your mental challenge, that's a part of you. That's you. That's nobody acting on you. A live load will be challenges that we go through due to other people's actions. That's people act upon us, it affects us, but we have to deal with it. And an environmental load could be, that's just Mother Nature. That's just the unexpected trials and tribulations of life. That's Murphy's Law. Anything that's gonna go wrong is gonna go wrong, you know? That's environmental load. But all of these experiences, all of these challenges that we go through, all of these obstacles, what do? They come to test the stability of our structure, our identity. Similarly, how the laws acted upon the structure, the buildings, test this, the integrity of the structure, the same thing happens to us when we go through challenges. So now, what happens when the structure is overloaded and it wasn't properly designed to handle that type of load? It collapsed. As you can see here, this roof of this building collapsed. But that's the roof. The most important part of a structure, to Raina's point, is the foundation. But so in thinking about this, I said to myself, okay, what if? Because my mind started thinking now. I'm studying engineering, I'm studying leadership, and I'm coming up with these concepts to teach leadership and to speak to people. I said, what if instead of setting goals and making decisions primarily based on what we want, we instead set goals and make decisions based on who we want to be and become? And I said, wow, identity-based decisions. And I was talking to a friend of mine, Arel Moody, who actually was the one who introduced me to Jason. And we were just having this conversation and we was talking, and I said this, and I was just like, identity-based decision. And, because sometimes when something is part of you, you're saying that you don't really understand the gravity of it. And Errol stopped me. He's like, whoa, Fred, did you just come up with that? Or did you read that song? I was like, no, I've never heard it before. That's just how I process things. Identity-based decision based on who I want to become. That's how I make decisions. And he's like, man, that's good. You should write that down. You should definitely think about that more. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, that's how, yes, your vision, you cast forward, but ultimately in life is who we are becoming, not what we are doing, essentially first. So when we base our decisions on our identity, right? So for example, if you want to be a runner, so what is identity-based decision? First, let me just say, it's when we set goals and make decisions, choices, and actions that are in alignment with the person that we want to become first, and the things we want to achieve. It's when we set our goals and actions and make choices based on the person that we want to become and the things that we want to achieve. So for example, if I am a runner, say I want to be a runner, or I say I'm a writer, and that's my identity. Every day I wake up, I run. I just don't want to run when I'm training for a 5K. I run every day because that's part of who I am. I'm a runner. So it doesn't matter if I'm training for a 5K, if I'm training for a marathon, or if I'm not doing anything, I run. If I'm a writer, I just don't want to write because, I need to publish a New York Times bestseller. Or when I'm writing a book, every day I write something. I write something, even if it's one sentence, I write something because it's reaffirming my identity. That's making decisions and choices based on who I am and who I want to become. That's going to lead to what I want to achieve. So when we make decisions based on who we are, we just do it. If I have identity-based mind that I'm a healthy person, I'm fit, I go to the gym, not to lose weight. It's because it's a lifestyle. That's who I am, So, and then I started to think, so our vision and our goals, they shape our identity. So when we set goals, we need to set goals. We future casting now. So your goals that you set, you need to say, the question is, who do I want to become? So your goals and your vision needs to be in alignment with your identity. Your goals should be telling you, okay, this is who I am. It should be reaffirming. So when I'm reaching for my goals, when I achieve that goal, it should be helping me become that ideal version of who I want to be. Because your goals shape your identity. Your identity will then shape your action. Like I said, if I'm a runner, that's my identity. My action is running. So I run every day. And then my action is going to shape who I am or who we are and who we are becoming. So there's this symbiotic connection to it. We start with identity. Our goals shape our identity shape our action, and then our action shape who we're becoming. So it starts with identity, it ends with identity. So everything that we do is in alignment, it's reaffirming. Have you ever, back in 2010, I had a pretty bad accident. And I had to go to a chiropractor because my spine was out of alignment. Because when I was out of alignment, I couldn't sleep well. I was just uncomfortable. If you've ever been out of alignment, nothing feels comfortable. That's what happens in life when we don't have alignment. When who we say we are or who we want to become and our actions and our choices are not in alignment, there's no vertical integrity, there's no vertical integration with it, we're always going to be pulling against one another because there's no alignment. Once we align, we move with intentionality, we have clarity, we are more confident once we know who we want to become. And because if we know who we want to become, the actions that we take will then fall in line. Because everything that we do, like Raina said, has to be built on a strong foundation, right? The most important part of a structure is foundation. Everything of a structure, a building, everything is underpinned and supported by a foundation. And our identity is our foundation. And our identity is made out of our values, our self-image, our beliefs, our mindset. And because we are human beings and we're not human doings, everything that we do flows out of who we are. I'll say that again. Everything that we do flows out of who we are. So that's where you ask, who am I? Who do I want to become? And then based on that, you say, okay, the person that I am, what action do they take? Everything that we do flows out of who we are. Our actions follows our identity. Our activities follows our identity because we're human beings. We're not human doings. And so as you can see here, this is a major part of our identity is our values. Like I said before, part of our identity And we're going to talk about values because we're talking about lows and values. You know, part of your identity is your values, your belief, your self-image, mindset, everything. A major part is your values. Why? Because your value, it underpins your vision. So you have this incredible vision for your life. You want to achieve all these amazing things. That's wonderful. But if you're going to do it lawfully, if you're going to do it in a way that's long lasting, that's impactful, you have to have values. So think about, you know, like to tell you, it doesn't matter how big of a ship it is. Like think about the Titanic, right? It was a little hole in the boat that brought it down, because that little hole led to a compromise and water came into the boat, into the ship, into the yacht. Think about all these incredible people that we know in the news, in the media, these famous people who built an incredible life. They had this incredible empire, but because they had no values, they had no true character, they treated people wrong, they took advantage of people, their entire lives came crumbling down. I don't want to name names, but it's in the news. When you think about people like Harvey Weinstein, for those who may know him, right? Or even like the owner of the Clippers at one point, and a bunch of other people who were accused of things that wasn't becoming of a person of value, of a person of integrity. So that's why, as a leader, and everyone on this call today is a leader, we need leaders now. This is a clarion call. We need leaders, especially in our generation and in our society, who are value-driven leaders, who are not going to compromise and who are not going to treat people wrong simply because of an opportunity to get a leg up. What's your values like? Because it says who you are. It's going to underpin your vision. If not, you take the shortcut. Yes, you might get to it, but it's not going to be lasting. And I'll show you what I mean. Here's what happens. When you have compromised values, you have crack in your foundation. Compromised values, because remember, your foundation, like Raymond said, the foundation is the most important part. Everything is built on it. So when a window or a roof on the building is destroyed, it's an easy fix. You can fix it. But as you can see in this picture, this level of crack on the foundation, the entire house is condemned. Nothing can happen to it again. Now it has to be completely demolished and rebuilt. Same thing with our lives. And if you look at people in society who had a crack in their foundation, how strong and reliable is your foundation? That is the question. People who had a crack in their foundation because of compromised values, see how their lives got destroyed. Their lives. R. Kelly, the singer, incredible talent, musician. But because of all the accusations and things that he got charged and arrested for and convicted for, all that talent, all that music that he made, cracked in his foundation. Boom, because of no values, taking advantage of people. Now his life is ruined. Same thing can happen to us. So your values underpins your vision. So it's just not important to have a vision. Yes, have a vision, but what's your values? And I'm going to share, and I want you guys to now start thinking about some of the values that you want to uphold in your life, your core values, right? So I have some example up here, and I want you to write, and you can share it in the chat, or what your values are. So like you have pride, you have honesty, you have belonging, you have acceptance, integrity, understanding, accountability, respect. So these are some of the values. These are just some. But of all of these, we get to decide what's going to be our core values. The core values means that those are the ones that we are not willing to compromise on in any circumstance. So what's yours? And these are the elements of a core value. You said to yourself, it's my line in the sand. This is what I believe and I stand for. And the core value, the way that you know a value is the core value, it always edifies others and lift other people up. It doesn't tear people down. And you won't compromise it for money or any opportunity to get ahead if it costs you going against it. You're willing to go against the crowd and stand up for what you believe is just. That's how you know that's a core value. That's the element of a core value. If you, oh, this is big. If you make mistake, because we all make mistakes, we're humans, and you compromise, it's a big deal to you. It bothers you, and you will do whatever necessary to fix it, even if you have to apologize to somebody you don't get along with. Because we all will make mistakes. But part of how you know that you're taking responsibility and something is of importance to you, if you go against it, you do anything that you can fix it. But if you go against your values, say for example, pride or accountability, and you go against that, and you say, oh no, it's no big deal, it doesn't bother you, then you know what, maybe it's cool, but it's not a core value of yours, because it's a part of who you are and who you want to become. So, okay, so sharing the chat, let me see. Speak to me. So once you got share a few values, we about to go in the breakout room in a second. We're about to go in the breakout room in a second. I want you to share in the chat some of the values, and if you need some help to kind of, you know, kind of orient you, these are some of the ones you can pick. I want you to share 3 values that you want to uphold and you want to incorporate in your life. Respect. I love that, Isabel. Respect. Honesty, kindness. Awesome, awesome. Keep writing those down as we about to go in the breakout room. So now the question is, we already plan our life. We have our vision, we have our goals. We just talked about values and talked about design, right? And how foundation has important and how value underpins our vision. So now the question is identity-based decision we're talking about here, right? Who it is that my actions and my choices is shaped by my identity, who I want to become. So now the goals that you have, you remember everything that you wrote down before, the goals that you had to make this your best year ever. The question that I would need you to answer now, as we go back into breakout room in a second, I need you to start writing it down now. So when we go, we're going to take 5 minutes in here, write it down, and then we're going to go in the breakout room for about 4 minutes and share with one another, and we'll come right back. Who do I need to become to achieve my goals? So now, before we went into the future, now we're back into reality. We're back into the present. And the question now, who do I need to become in order for everything that I said or that I achieved to become a reality? So some of the questions, how do I need to see myself? What do I need to believe about myself and my abilities? What values and character traits do I need to uphold for myself? How do I need to talk to myself, especially when I make a mistake? What kind of mindset do I need to develop? My top 3 core values are, or the top 3 core values I would like to have. What are they? So I need you to take about 3 minutes, just write those, and we're gonna go into the breakout room. The question, who do I need to become to achieve my goals? How do you need to see yourself? What do you need to believe about yourself, about your abilities? What values do you need to have? This is your foundation for your vision. This is what's going to uphold your vision. And all of these are just to guide you. If you write all of this down, again, this is just a session. You can take some of this, and later on, you can do even deep dive and work on this even further. But just take like 1, 2, or 3 of these, and you write about that. All right. So we're going to take about 4 minutes. So when the song stops, we're going to go into the breakout room. And we're going to share. If you need any help, just put one in the chat. If you need clarity, put one in the chat. I'm here to help you, to assist you. If you're done, put 2 in the chat. Okay, I see you, Rhea. I see you, Rena. See Crystal. If you need a little bit more time, put 3 in the chat. If you're done, put 2. If you need a little bit more time, put 3. All right, okay, so we're gonna go into breakout room. So everything that you wrote, just share. And because of time, everyone just take about 1.5 to 2 minutes. Just share, who do I need to become? Be very succinct. This is how I need to see myself. This is what I need to believe about my abilities, my values, my mindset, whatever you wrote. Just take 1 or 2 minutes and just share with your group so everybody could share. And then we're gonna come back in about, the time now is 11:30. 11:29, so about 11:35. So within about 5 minutes, we're gonna come back. All right. So I'm gonna put us in the breakout room right now. Breakout room participant. Give me a second. Stop recording. There. Everybody's coming back in. This is awesome. I was hopping in and out of the rooms. I heard some incredible interaction and conversation. I'm super proud of you guys and the hard work that you're doing. Because this is as people come back in the room, this is what's required for us not to just achieve the best year of our lives, 2022, but for us to achieve, to live out our best life, period. So 2022 is just a year within our life. It's about our life, but we take it in steps, right? Because when you have a best year, you have best 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and you string all of these together, you have a wonderful life. Open all rooms. Okay. Okay, great. So, yeah, so back again, like I was saying, let me share my screen for a second. Share, come back here. So who do we need to become? Who do I need to become? And as I was hopping in and out of the room, some incredible things came about. And especially I want to just highlight this, how do I need to talk to myself, especially when I make a mistake? That is so important because remember, I said that part of our identity is our self-image right here, self-image, right? So if you have a poor self-image, it's going to lead to your compromised values, which is going to be a crack in your foundation. Oftentimes, when I make mistakes and I'm being hard on myself, I ask myself this question. Is this how you would talk to your best friend or to somebody you respect? And the answer to that, a lot of the time, 100% of the times will be no. And if that's no, then why am I talking to myself that way? You see, it's about our self-image, is how we view ourselves. If we don't view ourselves correctly and as being valuable, we all make mistakes. Then essentially we're saying we're not even worthy, we're not even deserving of our dreams and our visions. So be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. To err is human, to make mistakes is human, right? So we did that, and I was going through the room, and some people had an incredible emotional experience, and they just needed to feel this right now. And that was so powerful, because when we connect with something emotionally, it sticks. So I just don't want you just to be in your head. This is just not a mental exercise. Again, you go into the future, you have your dreams and your goals, and then you come back into your current state. You say, who do I need to become? Because your goals, your dreams, your desire, it requires a more evolved version of you, a more developed version of you, a better or higher self of you in order to achieve that. And you haven't met that self yet. And you need to develop that self. You need to cultivate that self. That's why you ask the question, who do I need to become? And then you go to work. So now we get into the build phase. So now we plan, we design, and we build. We plan, that's our vision. We design, we understand it, you know, our identity-based decision. We got our foundation right, we got our values right, and then build. You plan your design, your plan, and then you build your design. Again, coming back to this is your current reality, your dream reality. You remember? We go into the future and then we come back. So this transformation gap, what does it take for you to get to your dream reality? This is what it's going to take, folks. Number one, we started this off, gratitude. Gratitude opens life. You cannot be grateful and stressed at the same time. You cannot be grateful and annoyed at the same time. Gratitude is the most powerful emotion there is. Gratitude shifts you. I guarantee you, when you're having a bad day, try it out for size. And I'm going to share my contact information. And if you feel otherwise, let me know. If you're having a bad day or something terrible is happening in your life, if you just shift and you start to look about all the good things that happen to you and for you and the people who are in your life, automatically your emotional state changes. So gratitude for everything in life that you already have. We already did the exercise, the $10 million or just life. Which one would you rather? Get $10 million and don't wake up, or just wake up and keep your problems? You wake up, because life is so important. It's going to require vulnerability. It's going to require your growth mindset, belief, courage, persistence, consistency, teamwork, being kind to yourself and others, and patience. Patience. Because you've never been down this route before. So this is what's happened when you get into building. The reason why it requires all of this stuff, because a lot of people would do the easy part. They would plan, they would design. Oh man, it's on paper, it's beautiful, it's amazing. They talk about it, it makes them feel good. But that's where they stop. They never get to take action. They never get to do the work, because the only people that do the work are the people who are courageous enough and who are vulnerable enough and willing to strip down. You see this step sheet that I talked to you guys about in the beginning, East 168? All it did was bad. In order for us to get to that dream reality, that new step street, we had to strip everything down to the bedrock. To the bedrock, in order to be now able to rebuild it back up. And in our lives, we have to strip down, take all the emotional dwarfness or abuse, the mental blocks, everything that's in the way, the miseducation, the negative talk, the self-sabotage and the sabotage of others. The people talking down to us, saying you're not good enough, all of this, we have to be able to strip down and get to the bedrock. To the bedrock of what? Who I am. Because everything that I do flows out of who I am. Activities, actions follows identity. Again, identity-based decisions. Your goal shapes your identity shapes your actions, and your actions will determine who you become. You strip down to the bedrock of who you are, you ask yourself, who am I and who do I want to become? When you get into that space and you get into construction and you start now cultivating and rebuilding yourself, you're on the path to achieving your dream reality. In the midst of it, people are gonna laugh. Some people are not gonna understand. They're not gonna realize it. They're gonna say, oh man, what is that? What are you guys doing when we're doing this stuff? Because you don't see in the picture here, at the end of the day, we will close it up and we had the picture of what it looked like. So when people came and when they saw it, because they couldn't see the vision because they didn't know, they didn't have the plan. They said, what are you guys doing? And then we'll point towards the picture. That's why you write down your vision. That's why you write down your goals. Because when you have those moments where things become dark and fuzzy, you look to it again to get inspiration. You look to it again to remind yourself, this is why I'm working hard. This is why I'm going to school and working, and I've had kids. This is why I'm taking 3-4 classes. When I went to school, I didn't go away for college because I worked full-time. I played soccer, college sports full-time, and I was involved in my church. And I mentored, and I did other things full-time because I'm like, the person that I want to become, the vision that I have for me, this is what's required. So that means I can do certain things for now. So some people are not going to see it, but I reminded myself every day because I wrote down my vision. Same thing, just like you have this picture here, you're going to look at it every time. And then this is what happens. As you start building and you don't give up, you keep working on your dreams. You're going to make mistakes. Look on the page right here. I made a mistake while I was doing this, but it's okay. Life is not about perfection. Life is about progress. I said, keep working on your vision. It's supposed to be keep working on your vision, right? It's an R. Does it affect the idea that I'm trying to get across? No, you still understand it. So when you make mistakes in life, it's not a big deal. Just keep moving forward. Don't give up. Keep working. Keep working. Yes, I see you. I see you, Rose. You know, keep working on your dreams. You're going to make mistakes, but you don't give up. You fall, you get back up. Consistency, persistency. You see now, it starts to take shape. It starts to take shape. You go from here, start to take shape. And now people start to see. And then sometimes it's around this time that you start to get believers. People are like, oh yeah, I always believe in you. I knew you could do it. But in the beginning, you're not going to have a lot of fanfare. But because your vision wasn't given to everybody, it was given to you. That's why you need to protect it. And you need to underpin it with strong values and strong self-image. And then as you see, you work hard, you did it. And ta-da, vision accomplished. On the right-hand side, you achieve your goal. You achieve your goal. This is when everybody come around and say, oh yeah, I knew you could do it. Oh, now I see that's why you work late. That's why you were working two jobs and you were going to school. Oh, this is what you were working on. This is what you were trying to do. In the beginning, when you were going through it, when you was in this stage right here, when they couldn't see it, when you were in this stage where everything was stripped down, they weren't supporting you, but it's okay because they didn't know. But now when you reach here, you inspire them. And now they start to ask you, what did you do? How can you help me do this, right? So you're building action plan. Because like I said, everything, you can have an amazing plan and an amazing design on paper, but you got to take action. So ask yourself, what consistent daily action do I need to achieve my goals, to have my best year of my life? Action based on your plan, not my plan, your design, your vision. What consistent action? Also, who do you need to share your vision with? Because as you saw over here, this bunch of people and there's other pictures, it's a teamwork. Your vision is too big, your vision is too impactful for you to be able to achieve it by yourself. Greatness is too big of a feat to be achieved by one person. So you need a team. So who do you need to share your vision with and enroll them onto your team to help you achieve your vision? What new skills do you need to develop? I need you to start writing this down. What new skills do you need to develop? What new information do you need to learn? Because new information comes and it shifts our entire perspective. Because like Einstein said, if you keep doing the same thing and expecting to get a different result, you're insane. What got you to this point cannot get you to the next point. The vision that you have for yourself, the information that got us here to this current reality, the vision that I have for the next level for my life, what I know right now cannot get me there. I need to learn new information. I need to develop new skills. I need to get in different environments to help up-level me. The same thing applies to you. So what old and unsupportive environment do I need to get out of? Or if I can't get out of it, because sometimes that environment may be our house. It may be part of our family. Let me just keep it real. Sometimes life is like that. The most negative people sometimes are your family members, and you cannot escape them because you live in the house. So what do? You spend less time, or you try to do as much as you can. If you got to go to the library, or put on your headphones, listen to motivation, listen to audio books, things that's going to awaken your imagination and your vision. You may be here physically, like Nelson Mandela, one of my favorite heroes. He was in prison for 27 years, but he said, even though he was physically in prison, prison never had his mind. He was outside. He was a free man, even though physically he was in prison. You may be in an environment that may not be supported, but your mind doesn't have to be locked up. You can dream. You can dream, and you can plan. Because the mind, the incredible thing about the mind, it does not know the difference between reality and imagination. And what new and supportive environment do you need to get into? What Jason is doing is incredible. Hostos, like I applaud. That's what in the beginning I asked, how many people show up? This is part of the secrets in life, the keys, the things that are in plain sight that we don't know. Showing up is 80%. Because if you don't show up, you cannot get the information. If you don't show up, you cannot get the new perspective. You cannot get the new ideas. You cannot get involved in a new environment. You got to show up. So who are the people in your life that you need to spend more time around? The people that inspire you, the people that support you. Everything that Jason is doing for the Leadership Academy after this week, it just can't be it. Like he does other things in the spring and anything. Are you involved with that? You got to be in an environment that's feeding your growth, that's feeding your desire, that's reaffirming your identity, that's telling you can make it, you can make it. It's possible. So as we come to a close, I want you to write those things down. Because this is just a workshop, it's 2 hours. This is your life. You cannot come up with your life plan and action and everything, because it takes deep work. Sometimes we have to learn to relearn. But this is orienting you. It's giving you an orientation. So everything that you learn today, write it down. And when we leave this session, I need you to think about it. And I need you to spend time with it. Remember, your goals shape your identity. Your identity shapes your action. And your action shapes who you are and who you are becoming. Why this is important? Because it is impossible to consistently behave in a way that is inconsistent with how we see ourselves. Self-image is so powerful. Zig Ziglar, and I have this quote on my workshop because especially when I discovered and I came up with this concept, identity-based decision, the quote came to me. I remember seeing this. I'm like, wow, yes, I remember him saying, because if I see myself one way and I'm trying to act another way, it's impossible. Because I mean, everything in me is saying, I don't believe it. Everything is in me saying, you're lying, Pinocchio. You're saying one thing, but your nose is telling us you're lying. So it's impossible to consistently, you may do it for a season, but to consistently behave in a way that's inconsistent with how we see ourselves comes back to identity. Everything rises and falls on your identity. So this is a quote that came up and I want to share with you guys. We are all born looking like our parents, but when we die, we're going to look like our choices. We are all born looking like our parents, but when we die, we're going to look like our choices. It comes a time in life, like the company Dodge, it says that we got to grab life by the horn. We got to take responsibility for our lives. People may have mishandled you. People may have done things that wasn't right when you were younger. But at the end of the day, in America, once you become 18, you're an adult. you take full responsibility for your life, because if you're going to succeed, it's up to you. You cannot blame your mother no more. You cannot blame your father. You cannot blame your guardian. You cannot blame your auntie. You cannot blame the system. You now have to put yourself in an environment like these, to get the information, to hang around with new people, so that you can learn new information, so that you can embrace a new future for yourself. The choices that you make at the end of your life is what's going to determine how your life shape up. It's not your parents. Your life is going to look like your choices. So I want you to know, believe in your vision, dream big, work hard, work smart, live out your values, amplify kindness, be kind. Everything that you need is within your reach. Don't focus on the people who don't believe in you or your dreams. Focus on the people who do and are willing to help you. I believe in you. Jason believes in you. And Jason, correct me if I'm stepping out of bounds. Part of the reason why I was so passionate and I was excited to do this, and I don't know if she's going to get mad at me, but I hope she doesn't, but I just feel it right now. Right now, I have a wife who is 9 months pregnant. Right? When Jason texted me and he told me about the different dates, and I picked a date and he's like, oh, that was already taken. And he's like, I know you're busy. He didn't even know this. But the first conversation that I had with Jason, I heard in his voice how passionate and how this meant so much to him. And I told I was having a conversation with my wife. I was like, man, and there was other things too that we talked about that was in a way. I'm like, I want to serve this community because Jason cared. Last Friday, I spoke with Jason on the phone. We was handling our last minute logistics, and he was sick. He wasn't well. He was supposed to be off, trying to take care of himself to get ready, and he was working. And I said, Jesse, you got to get some rest. He said, this is so important. That's how much he cares. And that's how much effort he puts into this. Because why? He believes in you. And I believe in you too. That's why I could leave time. I spent all night in my office last night. Literally, I got home 6 o'clock today. 6 o'clock this morning, from 9 o'clock last night to 6 this morning, because I was working on the project in my office. And then I woke up, I closed my eyes for 2 hours and I came here because it was so important that I be here and I spent this time with you because I believe in you. I believe in Jason. I believe in what he's doing. So people are going to doubt you. Your environment going to look different because where you come from, people are going to try to belittle you or say it's not possible. But I want you to know, dare to dream big. Dare to have a vision. Dare to believe in the impossible. Even though you may not see it, or it may not be the thing that's normal for the people around you, believe it. I want to share this last slide with you. This is the song, and I want you to listen to the lyrics as it plays. Because it says, am I wrong? That's the name of the song, Am I Wrong? And the answer to that is, you are not wrong. You are not wrong to embrace everything that it sings about in the song. Listen to it. And this is how we're going to rock up. We're going to wrap up with a lot of energy. And I want you to feel it. I want you to embrace it. Everything that you just wrote about your life, about your vision, this is what it's about. You are not wrong about thinking about the box. Listen to it.
Just cause everybody doing what they are doing. If one thing I know, I fall but I grow. I'm walking down this road of mine, this road that I go home. So am I wrong? Thinking that we could be something for real. Now am I wrong? For trying to reach the things that I can't see.
Reach the things you cannot see. That's okay. Feel it. Dream. You're talking to a young man who 5 years old came from an environment of civil war, living in 11 years out of 13 years. You're gonna be on top of the world, baby. can be something. You're not wrong.
Now am I wrong for trying to reach the things that I can't see?
Reach the things you cannot see.
That's just how I feel.
It don't matter what anybody else says. That's how you feel. That's what you need. That's what you want. That's the vision God put in your heart. Go for it.
Trying to reach the things that I can't see.
It starts in your mind first, your vision. You can't see it, but reach for it. If you can reach in the future, you can bring it into the reality. If anybody says you're wrong for that, then you don't want to be right.
If you tell me I'm wrong, I don't wanna be right. If you tell me I'm wrong, I don't wanna be right. If you tell me I'm wrong, I don't wanna be right. Thinking that we could be something for real. Now am I wrong for trying to reach the things that I can't see? But that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. Trying to reach the things that I can't see.
Fred, thank you so much. I want everybody, let's give him a round of applause, virtual applause.
Yes, thank you. Woo!
Great job. I know I was off camera. I've been telling the folks I've been fighting this cold still this week. So I don't like wiping my nose all over the camera and everything. So, but I've been paying attention here, and very inspirational words, I think, especially when you talk about, you know, really thinking about a vision for your future and realizing that if you place the future before you right now, and say, this is the model, right? This is what I'm engineering. This is what I'm working towards, that you're sort of focused more perfectly on actually getting to that place, because you say, this is what it is, and I'm going to make it happen, make it come to be. So Fred, I really appreciate it. I didn't know that your wife was pregnant. Congratulations. I'm excited for you. That song that you played, that's one of my wife's favorite songs. So she plays it all the time in her headphones. And I understand why it's an inspiration to you. And I really appreciate you doing this. And I look forward to our collaborations as we go forward. And I think that a lot of people were touched here today. I was reading the chat and hearing different people say different things throughout the course of the workshop. So I want to honor everybody's time though. So Fred, thank you very much. I really appreciate you, everybody. Thank you for being here. As I said, you know, all these workshops are great. We have wonderful speakers, wonderful presenters. So thank you. Also, let me say this into the, you know, into the world, into the, you know, into the video. Thank you, Rel, for introducing Fred and putting that in place, and Jessica for like giving a high five on Fred and saying he's great too. So I really appreciate you. Best wishes with everything, and everybody else. We will see you this afternoon and tomorrow if you're going to be there. And thank you again. Thank you everybody for being here. Have a great couple of hours, or we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, everybody.
Take care. Bye, everybody. See you. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Fred. Appreciate it.
Yes.